Bathsheba's voice, a 10-minute dramatic devotional narrative. My name is Bathsheba, but for too long, I was known only by someone else's story, not mine. Not the one that knew the warmth of family, the rhythm of daily prayers, the scent of cedar and crushed myrrh in the courtyard where I grew up, before the palace, before the rooftop, before the silence that followed. You've heard the tale with too few details and too little understanding. I was the woman bathing. But there is more. There's always more. I married Uriah, a soldier with calloused hands and a devoted heart. We were happy. Not rich, not remarkable, but real. And when he left to fight in David's wars, I waited faithfully, counting the days and nights, praying for his safe return. I was the daughter of William, loyal to King David. That evening, the rooftop was not a stage. It was simply routine, the ritual cleansing after my monthly cycle, a sacred act, private, not by a stranger, but by the king, obedient. I didn't know I was being watched. Not by a neighbor. The summons came like thunder, quick, loud, unstoppable. I could have refused. You may think that, but what is refusal to a king? In a world where men wield power like swords, and women carry honor like fragile glass. Even drunk, his honor stood taller than the palace walls. I went, I do not remember pleasure, only silence, and the scent of wine, and the sound of my own heartbeats, loud in my ears. Afterward, I returned home in a fog, clinging to dignity, hoping to forget, until I missed my time, and the child began to grow. I sent word quietly, fearfully. He sent for Uriah. I thought maybe he would make it right. But Uriah, my beloved, was too noble. He would not go home while others still fought. And so the king wrote a letter and sealed it, and sent it with the man who would carry his own death sentence to the front lines. I never saw Uriah again. The morning was bitter, private, and then, as quickly as he had summoned me once before, David summoned me again, this time to marry. No one spoke of it. No one questioned it, but they all knew. Not because justice was served, but because my pain was finally seen. And I lived in a palace made of stone and silence. Then the baby came. A son. And then he was gone. 7 days. That's all I had with him. 7 days of singing lullabies through tears, of praying to a God I wasn't sure was still listening. But somehow he was. The prophet Nathan came, but as the queen mother, the king's mother, the boy I bore sat on the throne, not to condemn me, but to speak truth to the king. David repented, truly, fully, and I wept, and in time we had another son, Solomon, beloved of the Lord. His birth didn't erase the past, but in his eyes I saw something new. Redemption, perhaps, a second chance, wrapped in soft skin and God's quiet favor. Years later, I stood again in that palace not as the girl from the rooftop. I wasn't erased. I was remembered. My name Bathsheba, inscribed in royal lineage, and one day it would echo down the corridors of prophecy. The Messiah himself would come from my line, the line that passed through scandal, pain, injustice, dot, dot, dot. So when you think of me, remember this. I was more than a moment, more than a scandal, more than someone else's sin. I was a woman who lost everything and still lived. A mother who cradled both sorrow and promise. A daughter of the Most High, seen by the only king who never used me but healed me.